5 NBA rules casual fans never notice, each fixing one exact problem. One of them turns on a 0.3-second cutoff, born from a single game-winning shot the league later called impossible. These aren't trivia. Each rule is a line the league was forced to draw. A specific play or strategy broke the game, and there was no page in the rulebook for it. So for each one, here's the deal. What the rule actually does, and the exact moment that created it. 5 rules, 5 fixes. Start with the clock. Under NBA rules, if the ball is put into play with less than 0.3 seconds left, on the game clock or the shot clock, no ordinary field goal counts. At 0.2 or 0.1, you're allowed one thing: a tip-in or a high lob someone catches and drops in one motion. A real catch and shoot. Not enough time. Where did that line come from? January 15, 1990. Trent Tucker of the Knicks catches an inbounds pass and buries a game-winning 3 with 0.1 seconds on the clock. Knicks beat the Bulls 109-106. Bulls coach Phil Jackson files an official protest. His argument: the play was closer to 0.4 seconds and the clock lied. Here's the part that stuck. NBA executive Rod Thorne looked at it and agreed a human being cannot catch a pass and shoot it in a single tenth of a second. So the league didn't argue the call. It moved the goalposts. It wrote a hard floor 0.3 seconds under which the human body simply can't do it, so the ball can't count. One shot, one new line in the book. Now walk into the paint. Rule 2, a defender is not allowed to just stand in the paint guarding nobody. Camp there without actively covering a player, and you get called for a defensive 3-second violation. Why does that rule even need to exist? Timing. It arrived right before the 2001 to 2002 season. That was the exact moment the NBA scrapped its old illegal defense rules, the ones that had banned zone defenses for decades. Follow the logic. The league wanted to open up the game by letting teams play a zone, where you guard an area instead of a single man. But there's an obvious loophole. If zones are legal, why not park your 7-footer under the rim all game and dare anyone to drive? The lane clogs and the game turns into a wall. So the same offseason the NBA legalized the zone, it wrote the rule that guards it. You can play the area, but you can't just squat in the middle. It's a compromise, not a cure. Defenses still pack the paint within the rule, and referees now have one more thing to judge. Is that defender actually guarding someone? Rule 3 lives in the last 2 minutes. Foul a player who's nowhere near the ball in the final 2 minutes and the penalty is unusually steep. 1 free throw plus you keep possession. That's a strange combination. Why so harsh? Because of a strategy called hake. Some players are great scorers but terrible free throw shooters. So opposing teams would grab that player away from the ball, on purpose, sending him to the line over and over to bleed the clock and kill the game's flow. Starting in the 2016 to 2017 season, the NBA extended this tougher penalty to the last 2 minutes of every quarter, not just the fourth. Here's the clever part. The league didn't ban the foul. You can't really outlaw grabbing someone. Instead, it changed the math. Give the fouled team a free throw and the ball back, and the whole point of haka stops paying off. The tactic isn't dead, teams can still try it. By the league's own framing, the fix is incremental. It made the strategy costlier, not impossible. Rule 4 is about the fast break. A clear path foul punishes a defender who fouls to stop a transition scoring chance, a runaway breakaway toward the other hoop. The tricky part was always deciding when it applied. So for the 2018 to 2019 season, the NBA made it a bright line, literally. Picture the backcourt circle, the ring around center court. The rule now says, if the ball is ahead of the tip of that circle and no defender is ahead of the ball handler, and a foul stops the break, that's a clear path. No more asking a referee to guess whether some defender could have hustled back in time. It's a fixed marker on the floor and the ball is either past it or it isn't. That's the trade-off with any bright line. You trade nuance for consistency. Some plays that feel like obvious breakaways fall just outside the boundary and don't count. And some that don't really feel like fast breaks now technically qualify. But every referee is reading the same line, and that was the whole point. Last one, and it's the rule in your thumbnail, the jump ball. The NBA still settles the opening tip, every overtime tip, and every held ball, 2 players wrestling the ball into a tie-up with an actual jump. The ref tosses it straight up, 2 players leap, best hops wins. Almost nobody else does this anymore. College basketball dropped the repeated jump ball back in the 1981 to 1982 season and switched to an alternating possession arrow. After the opening tip, tie-ups just go to whichever team is next in line, back and forth. No jumping. The NBA looked at that fix and passed. Why keep the toss? The arrow does solve real problems. Bad throws, and a tiny guard doomed against a giant every time. But the arrow has its own knock, it's arbitrary. Possession gets decided by whose turn it is, not by anything that happens on the floor. The NBA chose the contested toss instead. It keeps the jump for every held ball, mismatches and all. Line them up and the pattern is impossible to miss. Every one of these 5 rules is the same move. The league drawing a line after a specific play or strategy exposed a hole in the book. And the sharpest example is the one from the thumbnail's cousin. That 0.3-second cutoff. One Trent Tucker 3/1/10 of a second, and the NBA rewrote how time itself works on the clock. Look at how it fixes things, though. It rarely bans the play outright. On hockey, it changed the math until the tactic stopped paying. On the clear path, it drew a hard line on the floor. On defensive 3 seconds, it guarded a loophole the moment it opened one. Remove the incentive or draw a bright line the whole league can read. That's the NBA rulebook in one sentence. So which one surprised you most? The 0.3-second cutoff, or that the NBA still jumps for every held ball? Drop it below and follow along, because the next hidden mechanism is the exact geometry of why a made 3 is worth exactly 1 point more than a 2.